Coming from TechCrunch, surprise, surprise, or I don't know, probably not really a surprise, OpenAI is shutting down Atlas, but its AI browser ambitions are still growing. So I think this is an interesting story, not because I'm particularly a fan of Atlas. Atlas was OpenAI's web browser that basically had ChatGPT built into it. The concept is you install the web browser onto your system, and then that gives a platform for you to be able to interact with ChatGPT on something that's actually installed on your computer. So you could go out, you could browse websites, you could ask questions about websites, all of that kind of stuff. And it was fine, right? All of these AI companies came out with their browsers, I don't know, 6, 9 months ago. They were fine. I still use Safari. And that was kind of how it was. It's like, oh, technically this is fine. And I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing. What I think is interesting about this, though, is as the AI bubble starts to implode, as everything starts to go to hell in the world of artificial intelligence, what we are going to start seeing is we're going to start seeing these corporations pulling back on products that they no longer think is going to give them an ROI, a return on investment. So we saw this before with OpenAI and Sora, right? They were pushing the hell out of Sora up until the moment they killed it dead, right? So Sora was their video creation model. And so you could go and you could create videos for free. They had a partnership with Walt Disney for something like $1 billion. They were full steam ahead. And then they just sank the ship. They just turned it into a coral reef. Why? Because apparently they had no idea how that was going to get them a return on investment. So now what we're seeing, like with Atlas, this is weird. Like to be clear, with Sora, I completely understand why they killed Sora. I'm actually kind of shocked they actually debuted Sora just because it was so brutally expensive. If they are losing money on people simply asking questions of ChatGPT and doing relatively basic tasks with ChatGPT, I cannot imagine how much money they were burning creating AI video, right? That's just this wonkadoodle. What's interesting here with Atlas is you wouldn't think it would cost that much money to keep Atlas going. This is one of those products I talk about in the technology world where you understand why it doesn't become a front runner. You understand why it's not, let's say, in the top 3 of whatever products, but you're kind of surprised that it dies, that they kill it, right? I talk about this like with Google Plus, right? Google Plus was fine enough. It wasn't really going to compete with Facebook. It wasn't really going to compete with Instagram or anything like that. But if you look at it, right, you already had, a social site with a lot of the different services in the Google world. Connecting that into like one kind of platform made sense, right? And what was weird about Google Plus is that they simply killed it. Instead of just having it go along and being a rather adequate system that they had already invested billions of dollars in, they just decided, nope, we're not going to do that anymore. I think what is interesting here with OpenAI and Atlas, and one of the reasons you might want to start being a little concerned with OpenAI is the whole question of why don't they have enough resources to keep this going? All right, we're not talking about the engineering that's required to build big ass data centers. We're not talking about the engineering required to create frontier models. We're not talking about the engineering required to create whatever is past RAG or whatever else. We're talking about a web browser that connects into the ChatGPT backend. Do they really no longer have enough resources to support that? Because if you're an OpenAI person, if you're an OpenAI fan for whatever reason, I do have them, it does seem like having a dedicated browser kind of makes sense. And here's the deal, right? It may not be a front runner now, it may not be at the top of the charts now, but as time goes by, you would think if they're investing their systems and the rest of it, it would get better and better and better and better over time. But we're not going to know because they took it out back and put a metaphorical bullet in its head. And this is one of the things to consider with the technology world right now and this whole artificial intelligence race. And one of the reasons I'm telling people to be very cautious about this particular time period in the tech world is that a lot of things are going to die. A lot of things are going to be killed, right? When I talk about artificial intelligence, right, there's the technology itself. And to be clear, most of the technology I'm fine with. You rarely hear me be snarky about the actual technology. But then there's the business. Then there's the business side. And that's a disaster. I just go on about that all day long. And one of the reasons I really caution people with deploying artificial intelligence in their infrastructure right now is not actually because of hallucinations. Look, if you highly target what problem you're solving with AI, you can mitigate hallucination problems basically out of existence. There's a lot of stuff with artificial intelligence. Again, when you start talking about cost, you can use smaller models. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do to mitigate the normal problems. Why I would be very cautious about integrating artificial intelligence into my systems right now is because you don't know which of these products is going to die tomorrow. Remember, OpenAI, Sam Altman has literally stated that he wants OpenAI to be a utility, right? All of your intelligence services. Intelligence is going to become a utility service the way water or electricity or sewage is. At least that's his argument. Not my argument. That's his argument, right? So what happens when you integrate these services deeply into your systems? And then they get turned off. And then they get turned off. That, my friends, is what we call a very bad day. Very, 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 very bad day. That is where you don't even quit. You don't even quit your job. You just walk the fuck out the door and never go back. Right? So anyways, that's why I kind of think it's curious with this, is with Atlas. OpenAI is sunsetting Atlas, the AI-powered browser. It launched in October. Okay, so we're talking about this in July, October, so less than a year this product was out. Let's see, with ChatGPT at its core, but it's not giving up on the idea that AI should help people browse the web. Instead, it's taking some of the agentic browsing features it tested in Atlas and redistributed them across ChatGPT's desktop app and Google Chrome extension. Now, when you look at this, you might be like, oh, Eli's being melodramatic. Yes. That is why these videos are entertaining. But anyways, beyond me being melodramatic, but one of the things you have to be thinking about, especially if you start deploying any of these kind of products to your users, is again, things like workflows, things like familiarity. I think about this like when I had customers and they would migrate from Windows machines to Mac machines. Right. So back in the day, when all we were doing was websites. Oh, you do not know the misery where you would have a customer and their favorite website would be whatever, New York Times, Washington Post, whatever, right? And every morning they go to the New York Times or the Washington Post and they know exactly what that website looks like. And then, you migrate them over to a Mac, you open up Washington Post, New York Times, whatever, in Safari. Oh no, that's not the right website. Well, you did say NewYorkTimes.com. Yes, it is NewYorkTimes.com. Okay, well, we're at New York Times. No, but that's not the right website. Yeah, no. It is the right website. It renders differently on Mac OS and Safari than it does in Internet Explorer. Okay, well, I want the website I'm used to. Yeah, oh fucking God. This is the web. I mean, it is the website. It doesn't look like you'll get used to it. God damn it. Anyways, huzzah, it'll be okay. I'm happy in my basement. Anyways, so one of the things you have to be thinking about is as they, again, you get these tech overlords, you get the founders, and they're like, users will just learn to deal with it. Like, oh, motherfucker, you have just never dealt with a user, have you? Tell me you've never actually dealt with a user without telling me you've never actually fucking dealt with a user. Anyways, and so I do think this is kind of an interesting thing to be thinking about. Is so they're taking the services, putting them into a desktop app, and then putting them into a Google Chrome extension, which is its own weirdness, right? With the idea of, oh, people just get used to it. But again, that's something you're gonna have to be careful about. It looks different. It's not the same. It is the same. It's not the same. It's, oh, fuck me. Anyways, the move to shut down Atlas comes a few months after OpenAI's former CEO of applications, Fidji Simo, told the team to cut back on, quote, side quests, which led the AI firm shutting down its AI video generation tool, Sora. I do think this is also kind of weird in the whole OpenAI world. I would argue the value is in the side quests. The main narrative of their story is kind of boring. we're kind of bored of the main narrative of their story. We would like to buy an expansion pack before we get to the end of the game. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. You can either sell us an expansion pack now or not, and we're just not going to finish your stupid ass game because it kind of got boring a while ago. I do think this is kind of, again, the weird thing with OpenAI. They're so focused on this garbage frontier model, right? They're so hyper focused on this whole AGI frontier model horse crap, and the idea that integrations are just one of those, niceties, right? The extensions are just one of those niceties, where as soon as something important comes down the pike, they're just going to get thrown in the trash, and you're going to focus on what's important as the model. And this is one of my big arguments. No, no, at this point in time, man, your frontier model is fine. Your frontier model is fine like a year ago. Like, fine, it is. Like, come on now. It's fine enough. What do people want? They want the add-ons. They want the integrations. They want the extensions. That's what they care about. If you are competing on frontier models in 2026, oh lordy, this is what I talk about, right? The visionaries of a particular time period, the smartest geeks of 2022 might be a bit dumb in 2026. That's how quickly time goes. That's how quickly it goes. Let's see here. After a few months of experimenting, OpenAI appears to have concluded that the browser is a feature, not the destination, so it's folding Atlas browser-like agent capabilities into the places people already work, and that includes Chrome. OpenAI is launching a ChatGPT extension on Chrome that gives it access to the context of the page you're viewing, lets users ask questions about web pages, summarize content, or start longer tasks, all from the browser. It's a direct competitor to Google's Gemini side panel, which performs several of the same tasks. And this is also the weird thing. Like, this is also the weird thing. So they're getting rid of their browser so that they can create a Chrome extension when they already know Google is coming for, right? Google's Gemini model, they're already putting the Gemini model directly into the browser. They're already putting the Gemini model directly into the Android operating system. They already created the Gemini model to run on laptops with at least 16 gigs of RAM. Plus, Gemini model is just fucking connected to everything in the Google world. So, like, so OpenAI, Sam Altman's grand idea is that they're going to try to compete with Google, mano a mano, literally on Google's platform. That just, I don't know. That just does not seem like a wise idea to me. But who knows? I am not an AI tech founder. So what do you think about this? What do you think about them killing Atlas? Is that a bit weird? Less than a year. Less than a year. And this is what I talk about too, where they have no plan. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They are throwing crap against the wall and then trying to tell you that is worth $1 million, right? You know the banana down at Miami. Well, I want to go to it this year. What's the art show in Miami? Anyways, there's the art show in Miami, and they duct tape a banana to a wall, and that was a piece of art that they sold for $1 million. The worst part is it actually got sold for $1 million. The funny part was not that they duct taped an actual banana to the wall and put $1 million price tag on it. The funny part was when somebody bought the damn thing. Anyways, like, what I'm starting to feel like in the AI world is what they're doing is they're taking a whole bunch of spaghetti and they're throwing it against the wall, and they're like, that is worth $1 trillion. And I don't know. I know people will buy a duct tape banana against the wall for $1 million. I'm just not sure if anybody's going to buy a whole bunch of spaghetti thrown against the wall for $1 trillion. You do get to a point where stupidity becomes way too expensive. So anyways, that's what I'm thinking about here. Again, the big thing, if you're integrating artificial intelligence into your systems right now, the big issue is it's not about hallucinations. It's not about frontier models. It's not about China versus the US or any of this other horseshit. The problem is they don't know their business models. They basically are not profitable. The hell, they're not profitable, and they do not have a stable way to remain in business. So the issue that you're going to be dealing with, and we have seen this before, again, the startup world of 15 years ago, vaporware from 25 years ago, this is a thing that we've seen many times before. is the issue is products are just going to disappear. They're going to be there one day and they're going to disappear the next. And so that's why you have to be concerned about artificial intelligence right now. So anyways, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts? Down in the comment section down below. If you like these episodes, do remember they're on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Link is down below. If you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. With that, see y'all later.